Right. Okay. So after this I square C, SPI and URT, today we will go with the one wire parallel bus interface, and also we'll start the second heading, external communication interface. These three we have already completed. Okay. Today we'll go with these two, and also we'll start the external communication interfaces. Okay. Please remember all the diagrams, whatever you have studied or the understood here. In examination, you may get a question like explain I square C protocol or a SPI bus interface protocol, like that. Okay, so you should be able to remember and explain this. This is a UART. Okay, fine. Today's topic, one wire interface. As the definition indicates, there will be only one wire. Okay, so that means through the wire, through the same one wire only, we have to send the address, we have to send the data, we have to send whether master is sending or slave is sending, everything. See what happened in the previous SPI bus was, here is a diagram. We have separate lines for sending a clock, sending a master output, and if slave is sending out, that lines are different. So that means hardware cost is more, but in the one wire interface, hardware cost is less because only one wire is used. Through the same wire the data is sent. Now you can ask, what is importance of VCC and this resistor? VCC, if we make it 0, this complete line is off. That means even though master try to send the data, this carrier is off, we cannot send the data. So what happens, every time whenever a master wants to send a data or a master wants to receive a data, there should be a proper supply of VCC, and this resistor, it will controls the total voltage flow in this wire, because there is only one wire. If this wire burns, complete interface will be failure. So to avoid that, we have voltage control through this resistor. Okay, so coming for this part here, there can be one master and n number of slaves, hence it is called as 1:n. Okay, and it's asynchronous. Please remember, if in a interface, if there is a no clock signal like this previous whatever I have shown you, here it is. Okay, so like this, there is no clock. Okay, so such a communication interfaces are called as asynchronous. Half duplex means anyone can send at a time. Okay, so it is developed by Maxim Dallas Semiconductor Company. Okay, and as I mentioned, one master, n number of slaves. Let us take a master is sending data to a slave 2. What happens? So always all slaves are active. Please remember this, because there is no special signal called slave selection, etc. So always all slaves are active. Master will send a data. Okay, and master should take care, he has to send data to only for appropriate slave. It is not any responsibility of this bus system. Master should be careful to whom it is sending a data. Okay, so it will send first it will send address, then it will send a data. Okay, so now there are some 5 to 6 steps of application, how it works. Okay, so step number 1, master should go for reset. That means anything is there in this common data line, that should be removed first. That is called as reset. And slaves should respond that whether they are presently active or not. If presently not active, generally all slaves should be present all the time. Even by any of the fault, if they are not active, they should give back the signal for the master, such that master will come to know that particular slave is not present. So slave should respond. Okay, immediately master will send a address. Please, this point is important. It sends an address of a particular slave. Once master sends an address, remaining slaves become off. Okay, only whom, if you take this as a and this as a B, okay, suddenly what happens is, if this master sends address to slave 1 will become off, means inactive. Okay, because of this third step, which is important. And fourth step is master starts sending one important step called as whether it is going to read or write for the slave. See here, one important thing is, master should not decide read write before finalizing a slave. First, master has to finalize the slave, then among many slaves, one will be activated, remaining all are inactive. Which is active? For that, it should tell whether it is going for read or write. If it is a read, what type of data flow? Let me show you. Master trying to read means from slave data will go back to the master. If master is writing data from master, it will go to the slave. This is what a direction. For anything, the same wire is used. There is no different wire. Okay, since there is only one wire and a possibility of damage is there, possibility of data collision is there, and a possibility of wrong data capture, data loss. So it is not used in very important data transmission protocols. It is used in small or minimum applications like battery information. Okay, let me give here battery information. If you start a vehicle like a car or something, you will get whether battery is in a good condition or a low battery. Okay, so such a indications, some light will glow. Okay, such a indications are done by this protocol. And also, once you enter a car, it will show you how much temperature presently it is, and what is the AC you should set to, and what AC value you presently it is, and what it should be. Like that, it will give us valuable information. And such a display are developed using one wire interface protocol. Okay, that finishes our four standard algorithms or a communication protocols, which are I2C. Let me give you here where we have I2C, SPI, UART, and one wire. So let's go for the last one in the section of onboard communication. So that is here, parallel interface. Okay, so parallel interface, what as the word indicates, at a time n bits of ports used to send a data, other side also n bits of ports will receive. So that means time is less but data capacity is more. The problem with this is hardware or implementation cost is very high, because at a time all ports should send, at the receiving side at a time all bits ports should receive. Okay, and the technique is, it is a host processor, host controlled processor. That means what? Who is starting a session, he is responsible. Let's take simple example. I have started a session now. That means I am the host. At a time, if I speak now, at a time everybody can listen that side. From your side. That means what? Everything is in my control. Okay, some exceptions are there, like you can ask a question, you can type something in the chat box, but voice, with respect to sound, it's a parallel. At a time you can listen. So that is called as host controlled and parallel. Okay, and also what I can do is, I can decode some address. Like, see, I want to ask a question for particular number. What I will do is, I will open up the participants and I will pick one of them, and I can ask the question. That means what? Here I am decoding something, that instead of asking everyone, I can ask only one person, and to whom to ask, that is up to my choice. Okay, in that way. And always you remember, if it is a parallel interface, there will be some range. Range means what? In our present session, which we are using a Zoom platform, we have a range of 99. That means more than 100 people may not join. Like that, there will be a range. Out of that range only we have to utilize. So what is importance of range is, if we don't mention a range, so somebody may come, like I am trying to speak with 10,000 people at a time. So what is the problem with the 10,000 people at a time through such a platform like a Zoom is, the bandwidth goes split. That means divided. So for each person, bandwidth, if it is divided, definitely he may not capture full data. So partial data may be captured. So that means data loss will happen. So for that reason, there will be a limit or a range. Okay, through this parallel interface, we can perform both read as well as write. Let's see how it works. Okay, one more important thing is address decoder circuit. Let me elaborate. Assumption here. I will use some of the notations. Okay, see here. There is one peripheral device whose number is 1, and also I will use peripheral device 2. Okay, here it will, this peripheral device 2 will also have three things. One is read, one is write, and one is data. Okay, so here I will put the signals: read, sorry, data, dt, read, then write. So this is a bus. Okay, so which I will show with the like this. It is not a single wire. Whereas coming for this read write, there are single lines. Here I will show the read and the write like this. Okay, and through this address bus, I mean here there will be one more connection port between address decoder circuit and the all parallel interface devices. Now I will give this address PD1, peripheral device 1, and peripheral device 2. Okay, what happens? This master, as please remember this, he is a host. He will send now 2. What happens? Here value 2 is sent. So he has to decode it. 2 means upside or downside. Means this up arrow mark or a left arrow mark. So he will decode it and he says that it's a left side. Okay, so suddenly what happens is this chip selection of this device 1 V is set to 1. 1 means what? It's a CS bar. It is CS bar become 1 means this PD1 is inactive. Okay, so this CS bar will become 0. That means active. So master feels like he is connected with PD2. What he will do? He will first send whether he wants to read or he wants, sorry, I will erase this because read is in a different direction. Okay, so read means like this, write means like this. He will send us a information first whether he want to read. If it is a read, then definitely write will be not active. So read means in this this PD2 is ready to give the data. So through this data bus, data is collected because it's a read. If it is a write, definitely what happens is with this cable is off. Okay, so only which direction data cable is present this way. So it is ready to collect data. So it is ready to collect the data. What happens? Through this cable, it will send the data to in this direction. Okay, suddenly automatically after some time, host changes the address from 2 to 1. What happens? Chip selection becomes 1 for this 2 and this will suddenly changes to 0. So that means this is now active. This is active. This is totally inactive. So suddenly what happens? This chip selection. So if it want to read, it will send a signal and data will be in this direction because it's a read. If it's a write, suddenly what happens? This read is closed and data transfers in this direction. Hence, it's a bidirectional movement for our this one parallel interface. So one thing here important, some of the parameters are, so whenever you are sending a data and receiving a data through this parallel interface, okay, very important is if you are sending 2 bits, it should also have a capacity of receiving a 2 bit. If you send 2 bit, if you are sending 3 bits, if its receiving capacity is a 2 bit, then data loss will happen. If its capacity is 4 and you are sending 3 means less efficient usage of resources or devices. So that should not happen. So that is called as baud rate management. So that is very important in parallel interface algorithms. Any of the parallel interfaces, not only like here, any of the protocol whichever are working in parallel, that should be taken care. Okay, so now some of the important points. It's a host control concept. Okay, so then what happens? The device, whoever wanted to communicate, it can inform the same to the processor through interrupts. This line is important. Interrupt. Why it's so important is because interrupt line itself is connected to the device. You can see here. Okay, it is not explicitly mentioned, but this address and chip selection itself is a interrupt activity. So suddenly what happens? Through this interrupt only, the particular peripheral device should inform anyone or a master, okay, particularly master, that whether he wants to send a data or receive a data. Okay, how much, what is important thing is we can send 4 bits at a time, 8 bits at a time, 16 bits at a time, like that different scale are there. Okay, and one more thing is, if 4-bit we are sending, receiving side should be 4-bit. Okay, so if that mismatch happens, data loss or less performance will be there. If we, since it's at a time we are sending a data, definitely it will be a high speed, because in 1 second we are sending 64 bits. Okay, so maybe today's protocol may give us 128 bits of data transmission. Hence the parallel interface will be very speed. That finishes our onboard communication interfaces. Let's go for off the board. That means external communication interfaces. Some of the words you have already seen. USB you have seen, then you have used already infrared, Bluetooth you have used, Wi-Fi you are familiar. Okay, so whichever are non-familiar, let's consider those also. Okay, so now let's start external communication interface. First thing is here, external word will communicate with the embedded system processor. External word communicate with the embedded system. You can see here, embedded system communicate with external word. External word means user or sensor, actuator, etc. That means they are not inside the system, they are outside the system, embedded system. First external communication interface is RS-232 and RS-485. Okay, so now let's start RS-232 and RS-485. If I show you the diagram, hope you can easily understand this. Okay, so if you have connected a projector, okay, nowadays laptop are giving us digital interface. Okay, but really speaking, projectors will have this type of pin. Even if you check a computer monitor connecting at the back end of a CPU box, you can see such a pins. Okay, if you see this, you can easily say. Now we should not use the word monitor cable, etc. Those are general English. Really speaking, they are RS-232 cable or RS-485 cable. Okay, so let's take one by one. It's a full duplex. That means what? Between source and destination, at a time anybody can send, anybody can receive. So that means what? It's a highly populated in the sense, if you take up a wire, if you check the data will transmit from and to in both the direction. And second thing, it's asynchronous. If it's asynchronous, definitely there won't be any of a clock signal. Okay, so then it is developed by EIA company, Electronics Industries and Association, in the year of 1960s. Okay, it uses a UART. So let's take recall the diagram of UART. So this is, if you take this as a CPU, this as a monitor, okay, monitor side. So what happens? CPU always sends the data to the monitor. If you take two RS-232 connected cables, 230 connected devices, one will send, another will receive. After some time, the second one will send, the first one will receive. But it's a, basically it is made up of this type architecture. That means what? One side sender, another side receiver. Please concentrate, both should be of same architecture. That means if I have in my CPU backside, means here CPU backside, if we have this pin and monitor supports this, means we cannot connect, definitely because of the different in the dimension. Monitor back, sorry, CPU backside, if you check this, monitor backside also, it will have a same direction, or else it is the same for DB25 also. Okay, that's why it is called as same architecture, two ends, but data transmission depends upon the scenario. It uses a TTL, transistor logic, or a CMOS logic. Okay, so coming for this important, it's a handshaking protocol. I hope you know three-way handshaking in your data communication. So let me give you a very simple word. First, three-way handshaking means send a message from source to destination. Second, handshaking means receiver will give acknowledgement. Third means sender will send a continuously data. That is called as three-way handshaking protocol. You are going to study this in detail in your DC subject. So this much is required for me. So I have given you. Okay. There are two types of RS232 pins. One is a 9 pin and another one is 25 pin. 9 means 5 on the top, 4 in the bottom side. Whereas a 25 pin configuration means 13 in the top and remaining 12 in the bottom side. This is what the protocols. Okay, there is one table given. Okay, which pin will do which particular work. This is for your reference. I don't think it is of that much important. These two. Okay, so this is what about RS232 and RS485. Okay, so next we'll go for USB. I hope you all are very familiar with the USB nowadays. Okay, the full form is Universal Serial Bus. As a word indicates, it's a serial. So serial means what? It definitely it will be a slow, but still we are getting nowadays high-speed USBs because of, even though it's a serial, some because of evolution in the USB technology, we are getting a good speed in the USB transmission also. Okay, so next comes what? It's a wired. Why it is called as wired is, if you take up your mobile charger and connect it to the pen drive, sorry, connect it one side, you connect it to laptop, another side you can connect it with the mobile, so it acts as a data transmission cable. Don't think this USB cable during charging. The work of charging is different. We have to understand only when we connect our mobile to computer, then only it is acts as a USB. Even though pen drive is called as USB device, interfacing communicate, using communication protocol is USB. It is released in 1995 and it uses a star topology. Star topology, I hope you all know in your concept. Anyway, we have one more slide here for how it star topology. There will be in the middle, there will be a host who will control all the peripheral devices who are communicated with each other via USB protocol. Host, USB host. Generally, this USB host will be computer. If you connect a computer, one side mouse, one side data modem, another side your through mobile charger, you have connected a mobile. Another side you have connected a pen drive. Okay, and one more port you have connected a printer. You can assume like this: one side mobile, a digital camera, then mouse, then comes printer, etc. Okay, so now this hub itself is nothing but the computer. He will control all the devices to which you have connected with. Okay, so and we can connect up to 127 numbers. Total devices 127. Okay, okay, let me give you three types of USB. I think you can see nowadays this one in your mobile charging concept. Type C charger. Okay, so here is a type C charger. Okay, so then what we have here is type B. Some of the printers uses this concept. Okay, so this was a mouse. If you see the mouse here, so the mouse are designed using this method. Okay, type A connector, type B and type C. Okay, so coming back to this our technical explanations, USB transmission data is in packet format. It is not a continuous data transmission, it's a packet. Okay, and that packet is of a standard format. So what you mean by packet is, I think you know the difference between datagram, data packet, okay, and continuous data transmission, connection oriented data transmission and connectionless transmission in your DC. Same definitions here also. And USB communication is host initiated. That means what? Every time master will control the connected devices. Okay, and this host controller is responsible for any of the data transmission taking place in that star topology. Okay, if you want to from digital camera, you want to send the data to your mobile, or yes, you can think like that. From digital camera, you want to transfer to your mobile. What you will do is, from digital camera, you will have a local copy in the RAM of computer. From computer, it will go to mobile device like that. Okay. Okay. Now, some other points are the length, maximum length USB can support is up to 5 meter. We can have a length of wire 5 meter through which we can send a data. Okay, there are two types of connection ends. Both the side USB, same architecture is not possible. Okay, I hope if you take up your mobile charger, one side is USB and another side will be little thin. Okay, like I hope one side type A and one side type C it will be. Okay, so that will be different. You can see two different type of ends will be there for a USB cable. Okay, and if you take up a USB cable, there will be 4 pins. I mean, basically 4 pins will work. First pin for data carry, I mean, second and third pin are data carrier. Fourth pin is the ground, and fifth pin is power supply. Sorry, first pin is power supply. If you, if the first pin is not working, definitely 2, 3, 4 will not work. And fourth pin is also important. What happens if sometimes the more voltage flows, okay, into the circuit? To eliminate that unwanted or extra current, we need a ground. Okay, this all the 4 pins are essential, but pin number 1 and 4 will initiates the data transfer, whereas 2 and 3 will forward or take the real data. Okay, you have to remember this table. Pin 1 for voltage activating, pin 4 for removing extra current, pin 2 and 3 for carrying the data, actual data. Okay, these are the types of different USBs. Okay, I hope you can see now some of the versions. USB 2.0, 3.0, you might have heard the words, and their technical speed, how much data capacity they can transmit from one end to another end. USB 1.0 was an old technology, and it was with the low speed concept, 1.5 Mbps. Then USB 1.0 with the full speed is 12 Mbps per second. Okay, high speed of USB 2 is 480 Mbps, and super speed of USB 3.0 is 4.8 Gbps. Okay, some of the pocket disk are of supporting USB 3.0. Some special ports are given in computer hardware, so where you need to connect those pocket disk, and you can transfer data in very high speed. 4.8 GB per second means it's of a very high speed compared to first and second versions. Okay, so next, third of the board communication interface or external communication interface, IEEE 1394. It is also called as FireWire. Okay, FireWire. Since there is a word wire is there, you can easily think it is not a wireless communication, it's a wired communication. And it is also high speed serial. Now there is a word called isochronous. So here I have highlighted a word. Isochronous means occurring at a time. Okay, either one activity may occur at a time or multiple activities may occur at a time, but all those activities should happen over wide, and all the activities are of high speed serial mode only. Okay, and it is also called as high performance serial bus. Okay, you can expect it is more speed than our previous USB 1 or RS-232, etc. Okay, so this is also called as 1394 application. It has been started in 1985. Okay, then comes what some of the products developed by different companies using the technique of IEEE as follows. Apple company, it called as a FireWire. Sony company has called it as i.link, whereas Texas called as links. These are the names, but working principle remains same in the all. Okay, so next, coming for a few of the technical points about this FireWire is, it's a point-to-point connection. That means what? It cannot be like one side one and another side multiple, like the what one wire technology. Okay, what happens in one wire and I square C? One master and many slave. But this IEEE is point to point. Can anybody predict why it is point to point? Why this method is point to point is because it's a wired. If it is a wired, we cannot have one end wire, one end of a wire to one, and other end can be multiple. That is not possible. So hence it is point to point, device to device. Okay, so nowadays point to multi-point communication is also trying to implement point to multi-point. I hope you can see, if you have entered some, just as a similarity I'm trying to give you, in a car we will use a charger. Okay, what happens in one side, one side it will be source single, but once we come up at another end, we can see different type of chargers end. Okay, that means point to multi-point. Okay, so this since it's a wire, as I mentioned here, the wire should have length of 15 feet. Okay, that maximum is 15 feet. So it supports a data for up to 400 to 3200 megabits per second. It's a megabit per second. And also please remember, it's a serial. In the serial mode, if you are sending this much data, means definitely it's a high performance. In parallel, you can reach up to gigahertz or something, but in serial, if you are reaching this, it's a good. But this IEEE 1394 is overtaken by USB 3 and USB 2. Okay, what happens? USB 2 undergoing for many of the evolution, but IEEE still in the almost in the same level. So that's why 400 to 3200 megabits per second is achievable speed. Okay, and it uses a differential data transfer. Differential means, here please remember, I hope you remember this third semester experiment, op-amp, where you have input plus and input minus. Okay, there will be LTP and UTP. If the UTP and LTP references, if data is more than that reference, it is called as plus. If the data is less than LTP, it is called as minus. So with respect to the some standard, it will check whether it is a more or less. That is called as differential data transfer. And very, very important, IEEE tried to eliminate the noise. That means unwanted data will be removed from the system. Okay. Okay, sorry for interrupt. Okay, so the interface cable supports three type of 4-pin, 6-pin, and 9-pin. Let me show you the different types. 4-pin like this, 6-pin connectors are like this, and 9-pin connectors. I hope you can see in different applications such devices are used. Okay. Okay. The voltage applicable is 24 to 30. During this voltage, it will operate. Okay, right? Okay, fine. Now let's go for the next one, external communication interface. It's an infrared method. Okay, so if I give you the example where you are using, it will be very, very useful. It's a TV remote control. Okay, TV remote control means from one side we will click a button, there will be another side receiving end. Okay, according to whatever we have give the signal, it is going to respond us. And it's a half duplex, means what? Unless I click something or I press something on a remote, there won't be any response from my computer, my TV or something. Once I click there, once I click or press a button on the remote, then only we can see the differences happening on the TV set or a VCD player. And it's a serial. You can see how to give the channel number. We cannot give all 120, channel number 125 at a time. We'll give 1, 2, 5 like that. No? Same way it is called as serial. And second thing, it's a wireless. Hope you can see all the TV remotes are wireless. Okay, right? Next, coming for this is, nowadays some evolution is taking place, like in the mobile only we can see this. We can use the TV remote applications, and we can use some of the modifications are taking place. But thing is, basically infrared is serial, half duplex, and wireless. Smart TVs will also give the response back. I hope you can see now some games we can really play standing in front of TV, moving right, moving left. Here what happens is, we will have some variable device, okay, like we will be holding. The TV will also give us the response, and whatever the device we have, it will transmit us data to the computer, okay, sorry, to the TV set. So what happens is, because of such a technology changes, so slowly we will get a different architecture from our different applications or different usage modes compared to the original infrared technology. It's a point to point and point to multi-point. Okay, so same remote we can use it for different TVs, but thing is both TVs should be of same architecture. Okay, so it is in this range of, I hope you can see, 10 centimeter to 1 meter. So nowadays still we can imagine up to 10 meter we can operate a TV in a single room. Okay, that is okay, that is possible, right? So now how much of what is a data bit supports data rate of a transmission is 9600 bits per second to 16 mbps. We can send data using 16 mbps, as I mentioned. Okay, so what happens during playing a game wireless using a remote wireless remote, definitely data transmission will be more compared to normal operations like volume rise, volume down, change of a program, etc. Okay, there are different versions of IR, that means infrared communication. These are the some, and with their specific data transmission rates. You can refer for your, you can use this table for your reference. Okay, okay, fine. Continuing a little. So what happens is infrared sending, there will be one LED. I hope you can see on the top of a remote where we will face it towards a TV, we can see one LED. Whichever the signal we will press, okay, whichever the signal, some number we will press, that signal is sent directly towards the TV. Okay, so TV will respond according to that. Okay, so here that receiving side, at in the TV we will have photodiode who will receive the data. According to that, the program will modify, rise up the volume, rise down the volume, etc. These all are signal converted, and from the remote they are sent, and in the inside the TV set there will be a receiver who he will receive a signal, understand the signal, and act according to the signal given by the remote. Okay, so that's what idea. Okay, so we have less than a minute. Please give your attendance. I cannot start a new communication protocol, that's a Bluetooth. Okay, so and also I would like to inform you one thing, that